Thank you, Craig. And I'm not going to lie, I'd be a hell of a lot more comfortable if they were catwalks and there was barrels and tanks down the side and you're all sitting down and I was just going to talk to you purely about wine. I feel very fortunate to be here tonight and our family feels very fortunate. You know, I'd firstly like to say, on behalf of our family, I'd like to thank the George Alexander Foundation for the opportunity of the fellowship and for inviting me here to speak about our experience. It's been an extremely positive one that has helped develop knowledge of a variety, share that with the broader industry, and help our business develop in a really crowded space. Prosecco is a variety that's very close to our family's heart. You could actually say Prosecco flows through our blood, through our veins. That's how nervous I am. Our father Otto grew up in what is considered Prosecco country, Val d'Obiadene, and it was his dream to grow Prosecco here in Australia. We realised this dream in 1999 when we planted Australia's first commercial vineyard of Prosecco, and then making Australian winemaking history by releasing Australia's very first Prosecco in 2004. Not a bad effort for a little Italian producer in the King Valley. It was shortly after the release of our first Prosecco that we had a visit from Sir James Gobbo, and we explained this story to him. Being a fellow migrant from Veneto, Corneliano, I think, if I'm correct, which he was very quick to point out, he mentioned that I should apply for a fellowship with the International Specialised Skills Institute. He provided an overview of what it involved, and he gave us some really sage advice. He said, share and it'll grow. It was this little bit of advice that we followed, and we really encouraged other King Valley producers to start to grow Prosecco and market the variety together through a project my brother Christian developed called Prosecco Road. Through the fellowship, we were able to develop our knowledge of the variety, and this helped us to ensure that we'd selected the right sites in the King Valley to grow a variety and use the best winemaking techniques available to put the product that we have in front of you today. With the skills and knowledge I attained from the trip, it has helped position King Valley as the premier region for growing Prosecco in Australia, and Del Zotto as the first family of Prosecco as well. Since the fellowship, we've seen the growth of the variety in the King Valley and more widely Australia. Vineyards that would otherwise have generated quite low incomes were grafted across to Prosecco and became a lot more profitable for grape growers in the region. The development of Prosecco Road as a marketing initiative and a group has seen the region receive considerable funding from our state government. We've seen the variety grow to be one of the hero varieties for the King Valley and used in many marketing initiatives for the region. Our success prompted us to think, you know, what do you do? Like, well, you know, we were a small producer, just to give you a little tiny snippet of our history. Like, when we first made Prosecco, we did 375 dozen. This year we'll make something around like 75,000 in the space of not even 20 years. And we sort of thought, well, what can we do as a family to honour the legacy or to honour, one, the International Specialised Skills Institute and the George Alexander Foundation. So we decided to sponsor a fellow. One of the conditions for sponsoring our fellow was they had to be regionally based and they had to be working on assisting rural communities to survive in a ever-growing tough conditions. Like, you know, like, because we were seeing rural communities die and everyone was moving away and we're wanting to see someone bring some positivity and reinvigorate rural communities. And the fellow that, Matt Farlett was the fellow who was the recipient of our fellowship, and his focus was rejuvenating rural communities through activating local and social entrepreneurship. Matt founded an organisation called ACRE. ACRE recently hosted, or this year actually, hosted the Social Enterprise World Forum Rural Gathering in northeast Victoria. This was the second time ever that leading rural policymakers and practitioners from around the world had gathered to accelerate community-led rejuvenation through social enterprise. The first ever time was when Matt was actually given the fellowship to go overseas and participate in the World Forum previously, which made us feel quite, we're very proud of the fact that something has come of this. ACRE is now growing, it's setting up in schools, and it's encouraging enormous amounts of rural communities to see the positive side of things and focus on moving forward rather than dwelling on the past. In conclusion, I will just touch briefly on my favourite subject, which is Prosecco. The very first Prosecco and the only Prosecco you try tonight is our Tabello, called Fondo Prosecco, which means with base. Tabello Prosecco is named Tabello Prosecco to honour our nonno. That was his nickname in Italy. He would make this wine annually and he would give it to his customers at Christmas. So I think it's very apt that we're here, and I feel very honoured, and our family feels very honoured, to be celebrating an evening like tonight with the George Alexander Foundation and all of you guys, and celebrating it with our Prosecco in honour of our grandfather, Nonno Giovanni. Thank you.